The city of Lagos never truly slept. Even in the quiet hours before dawn, the streets hummed with life. Vendors arranged their stalls, buses honked impatiently, and yellow taxis moved like restless ants through the endless traffic. Among those taxis was an old, slightly worn vehicle driven by a man named Ibrahim. Ibrahim was 46 years old, with kind eyes and a calm voice that made passengers feel safe the moment they entered his car. Life had not been easy for him. He lived in a small apartment on the outskirts of the city with his wife Amina and their two children. The apartment had peeling paint and a leaking roof during the rainy season, but inside it was filled with warmth and laughter. Ibrahim worked long hours every day, sometimes 12, sometimes 16, driving strangers across the busy city streets. But no matter how tired he felt, Ibrahim always remembered something his father had told him many years earlier. "Son," his father once said, "a man may lose money, but if he loses his honesty, he loses everything." Those words stayed with him, even when life became difficult, even when temptation whispered. One hot afternoon, Ibrahim picked up a passenger from the airport. The passenger was a well-dressed businessman in an expensive suit. He looked stressed and spoke quickly into his phone as he climbed into the back seat. "Victoria Island, please, quickly." Ibrahim nodded. Yes, sir, traffic was heavy that day. Motorcycles squeezed between cars, horns blared constantly, and the air shimmered with heat rising from the road. The businessman continued talking on the phone during the entire ride. He seemed distracted, impatient, and worried about something important. Finally, they arrived at a tall office building. The businessman ended his call, handed Ibrahim the fare, and rushed out of the taxi without another word. Within seconds, he disappeared into the building. Ibrahim sighed and wiped sweat from his forehead. Just another passenger, just another ride. He checked his mirrors and prepared to drive away, but then he noticed something on the back seat, a black leather bag. He reached back and picked it up. "Sir!" Ibrahim shouted out the window. But the businessman was already gone. Ibrahim looked at the bag carefully. It was heavy, very heavy. Curiosity slowly crept into his mind. He unzipped the bag slightly and froze. Inside were stacks of money, neatly arranged bundles, hundreds, thousands. Ibrahim's heart began to pound. He quickly zipped the bag closed again. His hands were shaking. He had never seen that much money in his life, not even close. For several seconds, he just sat there, staring at the bag on the passenger seat. The sounds of the city faded around him. In that moment, a dangerous thought appeared in his mind. No one knows the bag is here. The passenger had been distracted. He never asked about it. He might not even remember which taxi he used. Ibrahim looked at the bag again. His children's school fees were overdue. The landlord had warned them about the rent. His wife's small food business needed money to grow. That bag could solve everything, every problem, every struggle. Ibrahim gripped the steering wheel tightly. A battle had begun inside his mind. One voice whispered, "Keep it." Another voice answered, "That money is not yours." He closed his eyes, and suddenly he heard his father's voice again. "A man may lose money, but if he loses his honesty, he loses everything." Ibrahim exhaled slowly. The decision became clear. He started the car and turned around. He drove back toward the tall office building. When Ibrahim reached the building entrance, security guards stood watching the busy street. He stepped out of the taxi, holding the bag carefully. "Excuse me," he said. "One of your visitors left this in my taxi." The guards looked surprised. "What is inside?" one asked. "I think it belongs to a businessman who came here earlier." The guard nodded and allowed Ibrahim inside the building. Minutes later, the businessman appeared in the lobby, but he looked very different now. His confident expression had been replaced by panic. He rushed toward Ibrahim. "My bag!" he exclaimed. "You found it?" Ibrahim handed it to him. "Yes, sir." The businessman opened the bag quickly and checked inside. All the money was there. He looked up at Ibrahim with disbelief. "Do you know how much money is in here?" Ibrahim shook his head. "No, sir." $50,000. The lobby suddenly fell silent. Even the security guard stared in shock. The businessman closed the bag slowly, then he looked at Ibrahim carefully. "You could have kept this." Ibrahim smiled gently. "But it would not belong to me." The businessman stared at him for a long moment. Then something unexpected happened. He began to laugh, not mockingly, but with genuine admiration. "In this city," he said, "honest people are rare." He reached into the bag and pulled out a thick bundle of cash. "Please take this as a reward." Ibrahim stepped back. "No, sir, I cannot." The businessman frowned. "Why not?" "Because returning the bag was the right thing to do." The man looked even more impressed now. "What is your name?" "Ibrahim." The businessman extended his hand. "My name is Mr. Okeke." They shook hands. Then Mr. Okeke said something that would change Ibrahim's life forever. "Ibrahim, I think a man like you deserves more than a reward." 1 week later, Ibrahim received a phone call. It was Mr. Okeke. "I have a proposal for you," he said. Curious, Ibrahim agreed to meet him. They met in a modern office building overlooking the city. Mr. Okeke explained everything. He owned a transportation company with dozens of vehicles. But he needed someone trustworthy to manage a new taxi service he was launching. Someone honest, someone reliable, someone like Ibrahim. "I have met many drivers," Mr. Okeke said, "but none returned $50,000. Ibrahim could hardly believe what he was hearing. "Are you serious?" Mr. Okeke smiled. "Completely." That day, Ibrahim became the manager of a new taxi fleet. His salary was higher than he had ever imagined. Within a year, his family moved into a comfortable home. His children attended good schools, and his wife expanded her business successfully. But Ibrahim never forgot where his story began. Every morning, he still visited the old taxi stand where he once waited for passengers. Sometimes new drivers asked him the same question. "How did you become so successful?" Ibrahim would smile and answer simply, "By returning something that never belonged to me." One evening, as the sun set over the busy streets of Lagos, Ibrahim stood beside a row of taxis outside his company office. Drivers laughed and talked while preparing for the night shift. The city lights began glowing one by one. Ibrahim looked at the road and remembered the moment he first found that bag. One decision, one choice between temptation and honesty, and everything changed. What would you have done in Ibrahim's situation? If you found a bag with $50,000 in your taxi, would you return it or keep it? Comment honestly below.